Guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittney Bundles, and today we're going to talk about how to keep your customers and drive repeat business for your company. This is a good video for any entrepreneur or business owner, no matter what field or industry you specialize in. It's a really good idea to learn more ways on actually keeping your customers and, like I said, driving repeat business. So if this is something that you are interested in, be sure to give me a big thumbs up. Please make sure that you are subscribed, and let's get right into the video. So you guys, I want to make this video because I feel like a lot of us focus on just getting customers. What can we do to get customers? As we should, but we really don't focus on, once we get those customers, how are we going to keep them here? How are we going to make sure that they repurchase again? And so here are a few steps. I actually created 6 steps that we can use to try to drive repeat business. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is customer service. So customer service, everyone has their own idea of what great customer service is and how we can show that to our customers. Now, one of the best ways to make sure that you're providing great customer service is to be relatable. We want to make sure that we're connecting with our customers. I speak about this in a lot of videos, you guys. Building relationships, building those rapports with your customers are going to be key in making sure that they have a relationship with you and are coming back. A lot of times we don't shop just based on the price. Like I told you guys before, we don't shop just based on specifically the quality, but it's a combination of everything. So it's not just the quality, it's not just the price, it's not just the customer service, but like I said, it's inclusive of everything that your company has to offer. And so if we can look at providing great customer service and what that looks like, being relatable, so being able to connect with your customers. Now, a lot of you may be thinking, if I'm an online business, how can I do that? How can I connect with customers? I'm not going to get too in depth on this video on what ways that you can connect with your customers, but I'll give you a few tips here. So you want to make sure that you're not only setting the right expectations, but that you're also following up with your customers. You want to make sure that you're doing different things that keep them engaged. So on your social media, it's very important to stay updated with your social media, because even though you're not speaking directly with your certain customers, it's still providing a sense of you're there. It's still providing a sense of what you're doing. You want to make sure that you're taking everything serious. So if a customer comes to you with an inquiry or a complaint or just encouragement or whatever, you want to make sure that they feel like their voice is heard. You know what I mean? And so just making sure that you keep that human factor, which is actually our second tip. So be human. So you guys, when I used to work in a call center, I was told I had like a great telecommunications voice. I had a great voice for over the phone. My sales were up and I was able to connect with customers. And one of the complaints that some of my customers had, even though I was very professional, even though I was able to relate to them, is sometimes they felt like I was reading from a script. Sometimes they felt like I was being too robotic. And so I had to teach myself, okay, you have to find a line between being professional and also being relatable and being human. And so a lot of times when I would hear the word professional, I would think, okay, there's no room for error, suit and tie, we're like this. You know what I mean? And it wasn't really any down to earth. It wasn't any examples that I would give or any forms of advice that I would give. It would strictly be what the company's policies were. And so once I learned, okay, it's not just being professional doesn't mean that you're not going to make any mistakes. It does not mean that you have to be a robot. It doesn't mean that. And so we have to find a balance between being professional, providing good customer service, but still being human, having that human factor. So if someone comes to you, still being able to look at everything as if you were in the customer's shoes. And sometimes you have to take your mentality outside of the role that you're in currently. So even when I was working in the salon, even though I'm the owner of the salon, I still have to be able to put myself in my employees or in my stylist's shoes. I still have to be able to say, okay, what are they experiencing? Or even in the client's shoes, how would I feel if this happened to me? What should I do? How would I want to be treated? And so it's more so finding the right vocabulary, matching our tones, and being able to not only relate, but to be human. We're just like you. Yeah, I'm just here to help. The third tip that I want to go over is have a great product. So like I mentioned in the beginning, when driving repeat business, it's not just about the price that are going to make majority of your customers come back. It's not just about the product all the time. And it's not just about the service, but it's an inclusive measure of everything that your company can offer, like I said. And so I want you guys to really start thinking about that. I have a lot of people that come to me and they say, people aren't going to buy just because of my price. When you become an entrepreneur, when you own your business, you learn that it's not just price driven. You know what I mean? Everything is not just price driven. Make sure that you're getting feedback from your clients and your customers as to how they felt with the product. You know what I mean? And with every product, with every business, you're going to have people that love your product, people that are okay with your product, and people that hate your product. I mean, that's with everything, because we all think and we all have different expectations. But at the same time, you still want to make sure that you're being open to saying, okay, well, how did you feel about this? You know, that's why having feedback and being able to have an open line of communication with your customers and a relationship is key in building repeat business. So that brings us to our fourth tip, having a clear communication path. So you want to make sure that your customers can actually come to you. Even if you're the manager or the CEO of the company, you still want it to be a way, if they can't get to you directly, you still want it to be a way that they can actually communicate their concerns efficiently and effectively to your company. And they know that they're going to be heard. You guys, like I said before, the bigger your company expands, the more you grow, it is going to be hard to keep up with all the inquiries because you're getting more inquiries, you know? So I remember before I got a Facebook and I was only solely advertising on Instagram, I would have inquiries from pretty much Instagram. Most of my inquiries would be from Instagram. But once I added Facebook to it, then I had inquiries from Instagram and Facebook. And then I added Google to it. So once I established a presence on Google, you have your Instagram, your Facebook, and your Google. And then you get on YouTube. So now you have your Instagram, your Facebook, Google, and also Instagram. Also YouTube. And then if you are a brick and mortar business, you know, you have your Instagram, your Facebook, your YouTube, and then also your local clients. And so it can be a lot, you know, you're dealing with a lot of people that are coming to you, whether it be text messages, phone calls, emails, and you may be getting overwhelmed sometimes. But like I say in all of my videos, it goes back to setting that right expectation. You don't want to ever stop the communication between you and your customers or you and your clients or even you and your supporters, because you want to make sure that you have a relationship. And the way that I run Btalks here, I don't run it as, you know, I'm just here and I'm looking down on everyone, or I'm here and everyone else just needs me. I don't look at it that way. There's a lot of businesses that once they get to a certain point, everything changes. The dynamic changes, and it doesn't really feel like it's a inclusive company. It just feels like, you know, I don't know. It just makes you feel uncomfortable. I know you guys have experienced customer service like that, where it feels like, you know, it just doesn't feel good. You don't really want to go back. And so I never want to be like that. So that's why I always tell you guys, I don't know everything, you know, and together we can learn. But I still want it to be a clear, open communication where I can get to you and you guys can get to me. And so that's a very key portion in your business, making sure that people can ask you questions. Now, I know when I first started Btalks here, majority of my interactions or my inquiries were over the phone. And as I grew, it became a little bit more challenging to do that, because I'll have, you know, callbacks from the other day, and I'll have voicemails that I have to get back to, and then my phone would be constantly ringing. And so it'd be hard for me to do anything else because I would just be on the phone all day. And so you have to figure out what's going to work best for your company. Every communication path does not work for every company. You have to figure out, okay, what's going to work best for me and my business at this time. You have to look at how much help you have at that time, you know, and especially in companies, things change. So there may be a time where a company has assistants, or where a company has a certain amount of employees, but then they downsize, or something else happens where they face a lot of churn and they no longer have that help. So you have to change your policies according to what works best for you. That's why I tell you guys to always be conscious of what your competitors or what other companies are offering. But ultimately, you have to figure out what's going to work best for your company, because there may be a company that just started that may not really have too much traffic that can say, you know what, I can take all the calls that I get today. And there may be someone else that's like, you know what, it's just me working, and so I can't answer 20 calls today. I know I can't do that. And so to be fair to my customers, my clients, I'm going to set the right expectation for email. Or there may be someone that say, you know what, text messages work best for me at this time. So it just depends on what's going to work, but you want to make sure that you're communicating with your customers, with your clients, with your supporters on how they can stay interactive with you, because that's going to drive repeat business. I go back to companies that I feel appreciated at. I go back to companies that I feel value me. And so if you guys didn't check out my last video, I think I made a video like 2 weeks ago, and it was very hard because I was making a video about my nail tech, and I was saying, you know, I'm torn between my skilled nail tech and my respect. And you guys who get your nails done, you understand, you know, when you really find someone that knows how to do your nails to your liking, it's really hard to let them go. And so you want to have a great experience, but then sometimes things happen where you're like, man, like, I wish this never happened, because it's going to make it harder for me to go back and repeat business with this company because of how they treated me. And so we don't want people to feel that way. We don't want them to be like, you know, I really, really want to go to their company. I really love their product. I really love their pricing. I love everything about them except that customer service. And so if anyone else comes around and they have better customer service, they have good products, good pricing, then it's going to be easy for your customer to say, you know what, let me try them out. Let me go to them. And so, like I said before in the beginning, we're not just focused on getting customers, but we're actually focused on retaining them, because I can tell you this, you'll have a company here that just gets a whole bunch of new customers. Say a company that, offers really, really cheap hair, and they're getting a lot of customers initially just because the customers are attracted to that price. But then you have another company over here that's not really price driven, but they have all of the features. They have the different pricing options. They have finance options. They have good customer service. They have people that are relatable and clear, and they have a clear pathway to communication. And so even though the first company may have received a lot of orders at once, through that rush and attraction to the pricing, you have customers that are sitting here like, I really didn't like their customer service. I really didn't like their hair. All I liked was their price. But this company, it's a couple dollars higher. I'm going to try them. You have to look at a business in a broader view, not just about who is busy that first month or who is busy, when they offer a sale, but who actually is able to keep their customers and gain new ones. That's the key. So the fifth tip that I'm going to go over is being open to suggestions from your customers. So too often we get in positions where we're like, you know what, even if you're working at a job, you may be a manager or in charge of a certain department or team. And it's like, you get so many suggestions that when you hear another suggestion, you listen to it, but you don't really listen to it. You know what I mean? Like, you listen to what they're saying, like, okay, whatever, but you don't have any plans on changing your policies or incorporating the feedback that you've been told. And you guys, I'm not saying that whenever someone gives you feedback, you have to change it. Or change your company. I'm not saying that at all. Because as a business owner, as a manager, as a leader in general, you are going to have people that give you feedback. And some of the feedback is going to be very useful. And some of the feedback you may say, you know what, I appreciate it, but right now, I'm going to try this route. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that every piece of feedback you're going to, incorporating your business, but I'm saying that be open to hearing it, because obviously if your customers are the ones that are browsing your website, your customers are the ones that are purchasing your product, your customers are the ones that are staying up to date with your company and with new changes, and they actually drive the business. And so you want to make sure that you're including your customers' feedback as well. They're going to make sure that you're being open to how they feel, because their feelings are important. I'll use another example. I remember when I used to work in a call center. I was really young, so it's maybe like my second job. And, especially when you're young, you have a different mentality. Nothing's wrong with that, but you're still growing and you're still developing who you are as a person and how you look at situations. So I remember I was in a call center. My job was to answer the phones and to provide great customer service. And I was in sales as well. But when people would call, I would be like, dang, because I would be having a conversation with one of my coworkers. And I'm like, wow, this call just interrupted my conversation. And so it was one time that someone in my department, she was an older woman, and, I respected her and I listened to her, and she would kind of show me the ropes. And so she was like, Brittney, you can't act like that, because if it wasn't for these customers, you wouldn't have a job. And that stuck with me. That changed. She probably doesn't even know that what she said, that little sentence, really changed my outlook on everything. And I thought, she's so true. She is speaking facts, because who am I sitting here? I'm getting upset. Like, I was in the middle of a good conversation. How dare these customers call me and stop my conversation? And she just had to stop me like, Brittney, do you realize that if they didn't call, you wouldn't be sitting here with a job? If you didn't have a job, you wouldn't have that new car you just bought. Okay. If you didn't have a job, you wouldn't be able to pay your rent. If you didn't have a job, you wouldn't be And so I had to really look at it in perspective. And I was like, wow. At the time I was living in an apartment with my son, and I said, she's right. If I didn't have this job, how would me and my son keep a roof over our head? If I didn't have this job, how would I buy dinner tonight? And so I started looking at my job for what it was. It was an opportunity. And I started looking and appreciating where I was at and what I was doing. So it's the same in this business. I see a lot of times where I may be speaking with other entrepreneurs or speaking with other, people that are high up in their companies. A lot of times you hear people just like, oh my gosh, like I'm tired. I've gotten too many calls today. Or, oh my gosh, if I get another email. And then I just have to politely remind people, like I was reminded, if it was, you do realize that if it wasn't for these inquiries, you probably wouldn't have as many sales as you do have. And if you didn't have the sales, then you probably wouldn't be able to have the lifestyle that you have now. You probably wouldn't be able to be home right now. You know what I mean? So we have to realize, we have to stop in our tracks and realize that our customers' opinions matter. Our supporters' opinions matter. Our clients' opinions matter. I hear so often, like, I don't care what nobody thinks. And I get where people are coming from where they say that. I get that. I'm not saying that you have to take into account what everyone says about you, because a lot of things that people say online are rude, are mean, are said in a way that's not really easily accepted. And they're not true. So I get that. I get where people are coming from. But in the same token, you do have to realize and show gratitude to the people that are helping you as well, because we're all helping each other. So you can't get to a point in your business where you're like, you know what, I've figured it out, I've done this all by myself, because you're not the one that's buying from yourself. You know what I mean? You're not the one that's shopping for yourself on your website. So you always want to make sure that you're being humble and that you're being appreciative and that you're taking your customers' opinions and suggestions into consideration. Not saying that you're going to implement everyone, but at least listen. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to hurt you to listen and to see, okay, is this something that would be beneficial or not? And even if it's not, I appreciate you for taking the time to actually help. Because we have to realize too that a lot of people, when they stop what they're doing in their day, business owners are not the only people that are busy. Before, when I was working, my life would be very hectic, very, very busy, always on the go. And so for me to stop what I'm doing and take time to leave a comment, or for me to stop what I'm doing and take time to leave a review, or for me to stop what I'm doing and take time and write an email, it's something to be appreciated, because a lot of people won't say anything. And then there's some people that will say, you know what, I'm taking time out of my day to tell her this, or I'm taking time out of my day to commend her on this. And that means a lot. So we want to make sure that we're not looking past that, you know. The last thing that I'm going to go over is surveys. So there's a lot of different websites out there where you can survey your customers depending on what industry you're in. But you want to make sure that you're getting a feel for how your customers feel. I'll go over another video if you guys are interested on different surveys that you can send out to your customers, and which ones I recommend you use, and things like that. But surveys are really, really important, because like I said, because you're not shopping on your website, you may not know if there's a certain area that may be a little confusing to others. I remember with my wholesale option on the website, I got a few questions of people asking, hey, how do I know if I have 10 bundles in my cart to qualify for wholesale pricing? And so what I did is I actually made a whole video explaining that. And I also changed the description on my website to make it a little bit more descriptive. And so that was feedback that I received, and it wasn't in the form of someone necessarily coming to me and saying, the way that this website is set up is stupid. No one had to say anything like that, but just people coming to me and saying, you know what, I'm not sure how to tell if I have 10 bundles. Can you help me? That really helped. You know what I mean? That helped. That was some feedback that I could take and say, you know what, with this feedback, I do want to make sure that my website is easy to navigate. I do want to make sure that my descriptions are clear. So maybe I'll go ahead and change this. Maybe I'll go ahead and make this. You know what I mean? So it really helped. And so the questions regarding wholesale went down. Do I still get questions? Yeah, but they went down. You know what I mean? So that showed me right there that, wow, listening to what your customers are saying, taking their feedback and applying it to your business is going to be helpful. We have to realize that there's a lot of different people that think completely differently than we do. So even though something may be completely clear and laid out to us, it may not be like that for someone else. So just being patient and using those surveys and just being open to suggestions, like I mentioned, is also going to help drive repeat business. The key is actually to make sure that your customers are repeat customers, that you're keeping the customers that you have and bringing new ones to you. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.